Today, we're doing a special training here presented by Scott and Steven from Transamerica. They're going to go over the new Final Expense Express product. Guys, some of the changes that they just made was even more lenient underwriting. So, first aid coverage for people that have congestive heart failure and other critical conditions. They're also going to go over the new text to sign signature process. Guys, they just made telesales super, super duper easy. And they're going to talk about the Everest concierge plan. This thing is really sweet. It's kind of comparable to like what other companies do. Your clients are going to be able to get this free with every single policy that's sold. And not only that, but it comes with the directive, the living directive, and a last will and testament. Really, really sweet. So let's get started, guys.
CHF, congestive heart failure. We're probably the only carrier I know that'll give you day one coverage, even with a recent diagnosis of CHF. COPD, we're very COPD friendly, going to give you day one coverage. Diabetes, diabetic coma, diabetes with neuropathy at an early age, uncontrolled sugars, high insulin, we're super diabetic friendly. It says within 2 years, that basically means ever. So even if you were recently diagnosed, you're still going to get coverage with diabetes. I'm going to talk about underwriting, but we've got some great rules around our underwriting, absolute strengths where we win, and then places we're tough, and I'll talk to you about that also. I'll talk about rates because that's part of our success too. But let's start with the PIN to sign process. It was clunky to begin with, right? A week ago, your client could receive a text. Then they would have to type in their email. Then they would have to create a 10-digit password with special characters. Then they had to put in their social. Then they had to put in their birthday. Okay, that is gone. So what I'm about to show you is live today. It's only on FE Express. It's not on our traditional immediate solution product, which we still sell a ton of. But today we're focusing on FE Express, which is outselling immediate solution 4-1 already. So let's talk about the signature process. All your clients are going to do, you're still at your computer, you're on the phone. You can do this new 6-digit PIN via email or via text. Let's talk about text message first. It's as simple as, something just came up here on my computer. Sorry about that. Of course, it's trying to reboot. When you're going to send the text message to your client. Your client's going to receive this text, and in the middle of this text is this 6-digit code, right? We're going to highlight it. So you're going to get this text. They're going to read that 6-digit code to you. First thing you're going to do is kind of read that script, right? And then you're going to say, yep, we agree. And then you enter the code. And that's the signature process. So it's as simple as receiving a 6-digit PIN and then entering it. Now, one thing to know is we give you your underwriting rule at the beginning of the e-app. I'll show you a demo site here. You guys can be absolute experts with the tools I'm going to give you at the end.
Life insurance agents, if you'd like 20 life insurance appointments on your calendar every single day, all set by the clients themselves who actually expect to speak with you about burial life insurance, or if you'd like a copy of the free new agent remote sales file, lots of killer sales materials, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com or click on the link below in the description.
When you do your personal information, your name and address, then you do a few health questions and lifestyle questions, then we're already having you sign. So we kind of skip that to show you the signature process. So you're signing now because we want to give you an underwriting decision. And when we give you that underwriting decision, we do it at the beginning of the e-app, before you've done your banking, before you've done your beneficiaries. And we do something else that's pretty cool. We allow you to customize coverage. So once you get that approval, even if you applied for 10 grand, we're going to approve you for 50,000, depending upon age. 50,000 goes all the way to age 75 for day one coverage. So we approve you and you can customize coverage. But remember, then you do your banking, then you do your beneficiaries, and then you repeat this process. You do the PIN signature twice over the phone, but it's really going well. Now, if your clients choose to review their documents, right? Because in their text, they're kind of getting two texts. I would read that 6-digit PIN first. Then if they want to, I just want to emphasize it's not mandatory, but if they want to, they can review all their forms. If they do want to review their forms and applications, that's when they put in their birth date and last four. And then they can look at all of the documents that we auto pre-filled. And if they somehow skip the PIN, we also give them the PIN right there. So that PIN goes back to you, right? They read it over the phone. It's the same PIN they just got in a text, and then to finalize coverage, right? That's where you sign one more time. Your client read you the PIN one more time. So in summary, right, it's just a 6-digit PIN. The client doesn't have to review documents. They read it to you over the phone. They get their underwriting decision. You can customize their underwriting decision. About 50% of the people that change their coverage amount increase it and half decrease it. So a lot of people like, wow, let's upsell. But a lot of people want to find what's really important for this demographic is something that's affordable. So you might have applied for 25 grand and said, hey, let's go down to 15, or let's go up to 40. And I can even show you that here in a second. So that's really the signature process, super straightforward. Let me talk about something else that's really important for telesales. How do you build confidence that with that client that what they just purchased is the right thing for them, right? How do you put something in their hands immediately at the point of sale that gives them peace of mind that it wasn't a scam? Like when their son comes home and says, what, you bought what over the phone? Give them an official looking document immediately. So now in the e-app at the point of sale, you can download this policy promise. So here you're on your computer, you just finished it. It says download, right? And what it is it's a one-page summary of exactly what they just purchased. And it has all of their important details. First of all, it's very obviously from Transamerica, congratulates them on their coverage, gives them all their details. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So you've got their policy number, their face amount, where they were approved, the product name, the draft date, the premium. Down below it even has your contact information. If they included Everest, the funeral planning, it's got a little writer there. So policy promise, we're getting really good feedback around this as just a great add-on. I think, Doug, one of your quotes also is the work begins once you've made the sale, right? This is a great way to begin that work right after you've made the sale. Attach this PDF, email it to them. So we don't send it out. It has to come from you. So you download it. You can get it from your past policies in the client dashboard, but best practice, do it right here at the end of the sale. Add a brochure, maybe on Transamerica, on your agency, on the funeral planning writer. Give them something that really feels valuable. That's the e-app in a short, and I'll show you something else here in a minute. I want to talk about underwriting. Because remember, I said the second most important thing is probably underwriting. And we've made some changes that are just unbelievable to help you get your clients approved. We've always been good with the big four, right? Every agent always wants to ask, or is always asked, hey, tell me about this health condition. Well, to me, the big four are CHF, congestive heart failure. We're probably the only carrier I know that'll give you day one coverage, even with a recent diagnosis of CHF. COPD, we're very COPD friendly, going to give you day one coverage. Diabetes, diabetic coma, diabetes with neuropathy at an early age, uncontrolled sugars, high insulin, we're super diabetic friendly. It says within 2 years, that basically means ever. So even if you were recently diagnosed, you're still going to get coverage with diabetes. Heart attack and heart disease, even a recent heart attack is that you have the ability to get day one coverage. So let me show you also some things we do well, and then show you some changes from just a few weeks ago. What we've always done well is not stacking unrelated medical conditions. So there's some medical conditions where they don't make each other worse. 1 + 1 + 1 still equals 1. Other medical conditions, 1 + 1 = 5. Like they really compound. But let's look at some pretty aggressive examples of multiple medical conditions. And I'll go fast here, but the point here is we don't penalize the client for unrelated health conditions. COPD, diabetes, MS, Parkinson's. I mean, poor guy, approved, day one, select. Another example, diabetes, lupus, emphysema. These are all unrelated, unstackable medical conditions, gets day one coverage. All right, let's look at this one, CHF and diabetes. Now note this, because we just changed this. We just this is like still in the PowerPoint, but I'll show you the change. So this was approved, graded. And let's look at a decline here. You get to multiple failures, you're going to get to a decline. So we had really good rules. Let me show you what just changed, and then let me talk about where we're tough, because it sounds like we're too easy and it's too good to be true, and that is a little true. So I'll tell you where we're tough also. Let's look at these changes. Just in the last month, we made changes around our comorbidities. When people have more than one health condition and it's a related health condition. So you can see COPD and stroke was graded at the top. This first section mostly moved. These all moved to day one covered select. So those moved from graded to select, like diabetes and stroke was graded. Now it's day one covered select. This middle one, look at diabetes, stroke and supplemental oxygen was a decline. Now that moved to graded. And then the bottom ones to me are probably the most like impact and probably the most prevalent and most important for you to protect more families, which is CHF and stroke was a decline. It didn't move to graded, it moved to select. CHF and diabetes and coronary artery disease moved from decline to select. COPD, CHF, AFib. So really good rules. Now, let me back off these rules. Let me tell you where we're tough, because it does sound too good to be true. Where are we tough? We're really tough on cancer. You have to be cancer-free for 4 years plus. We're not a very cancer-friendly carrier. Any type of drug abuse or alcohol treatment in the past, we're going to be tough. I'd say we're also tough on oxygen. Just generally, we're tough on oxygen. We're pretty tough on memory loss. We changed our rules also. It used to be 10 years of any type of memory loss. Now it has to be mentioned within 2 years. That's for temporary memory loss. We're still tough. We're very tough on dementia and Alzheimer's. Those are permanent, and those are definitely knockouts for us. But the places we're strong, like CHF, heart attacks, COPD, diabetes, we're really trying to earn your business. Couple of things that we also changed recently. We know, and actually another thing, Doug, you really talk about that's so important, being a true Social Security billing carrier. We're known as doing Social Security billing really, really well. And we actually just made improvements where we're giving you guidance and giving you the ability to really look like an expert by putting information right in the e-app. So now, yes, you can just pick your Social Security draft date, but on the left-hand side, you can kind of see we're asking, like, tell us about your Social Security. Is it just regular Social Security? Because we're going to now recommend a date. And then if you click you can click and open up this middle image, which tells you, so you can talk to your client about what dates, because a lot of people we found were actually picking the wrong Social Security date. So you can still override it, or we're going to give you guidance. Real nice improvement there. This says coming soon, but a lot of these are live, which is our new graded rates. When we launched this product, our graded rates were really expensive, definitely out of the market. In some cases, our graded rates were more expensive than guaranteed issue, which just made no sense. So we just at the end of last month, we reduced our graded rates. I'd say they're more competitive. They're not industry leading, but we still think if you're graded with us, chances are you're decline at most other carriers. So our rates, like I said earlier, our rates are good. Our rates combined with our underwriting are fantastic, because they're going to push you to a decline or graded when you still have day one coverage with us. Pin to sign, now live. So that was the opening demo. Really excited about this. We're getting record submits and record sales just because of this recent enhancement. And our goal as a carrier is to become the #1 middle America life insurance company. To do that, I think we really have to become the #1 instant decision life insurance company. So today we're talking about final expense. Pretty soon, November-ish, you're going to have 100% instant decision IUL in the same e-app that we're kind of showing you. And then first half of next year, you're going to have 100% instant decision term. So term is really looking good too. Let me remind you guys one more thing. We do a fantastic trip every year, pretty easy to qualify for. It's $100,000 in premium. And next year's trip for this year's production is at the Montage Cabo San Lucas, just an amazing resort. Let me show you a couple things, guys. I want to make sure you have some tools that you can, go through the app yourself, give you a quick demo. Let me come to one of my, all right. I think you're still seeing this page. Let me try to put this up and turn this little thing off where I hide the UI. All right, so guys, this is a demo site. I'm going to put this in the chat before we wrap up. I'm going to try to copy this and put it in here. But I want to show you really quickly like how you can be an expert and see the entire EAP. So when you get to the dashboard, well, first of all, you start by going to secure.transamerica.com. And you need to have a login, but that brings you to Agent Home. In Agent Home, you'll see EFE Express solution as just one of the tiles. That brings you to this dashboard. If you click on New Application, this is a clickable demo. It's not a full sandbox demo, but it's a really fast clickable. So it autofills, right? You just click, and if you click in the wrong spot, it'll flash in blue, and you can go pretty quickly. So we're going to do, you're doing it over phone. See how it already pre-popped, but this is a tool that you can practice with so that you can be an absolute expert and know exactly what's coming, right? Opt in to do business electronically. No, it's not a replacement. I just want to get to one really cool part. So here's all your client information, name and address and everything. Then you get right into health information. It doesn't say it, but these two first sections are knockouts. So your health, this first section, if you have any of these, don't move forward. Those are knockouts. Same thing with this. Then we get to some pretty easy. This is the entire health question. And a lot of it's as simple as just none of the above, right? So a real healthy client can just fly through here. So the first part are your health questions. The second part is lifestyle around smoking, DUIs, felonies, etc. And then now we sign. This is what just changed on Monday. So once again, right, to show you, this is kind of a fuller demo, but right, you click on text, you opt in. Notice on the right-hand side now, the client over here gets a text message. So you can practice this. What it's showing right now, though, is they want to review their document. Oop, I clicked on the wrong link. Let's see what it lets me do here. Lets me move forward. Yeah, so if they want to review documents, we're showing you that. Here's all their documents and applications, right? If they read the 6-digit PIN back to you, you're just going to type it in here and then move forward. And you're going to agree to answer questions around, are there any other agents? Are you splitting? How long have you known? And then this is where we get a ton of feedback. People really like that we're giving you a decision at the beginning of the EAP and that you can customize it. We also must pull fast data quickly because I'm told that we're giving you a decision really, really quickly in the EAP, no longer waiting for an email. There's no refer to underwriter, right? You're getting an instant decision 100% of the time. It's either approved, select, approved, graded, or declined. But notice this. It says, congratulations, you're approved. You can customize coverage. So in this example, they're approved for 50. They applied for 25. So now you can come here and you can customize coverage. Let's say, hey, what does $40,000 look like? All right, let's move forward. So I'm not going to finish the rest. It's pretty straightforward, but I'm going to make sure you guys have this tool. Doug, what did I go too fast over, or what should I slow down and emphasize, or even answer any questions?
Yeah, well, talk a little bit about the Everest.
Oh, great. Yeah, absolutely. I want to have, guys, I also didn't introduce Scott Grody. Hey, Grody, are you on?
Hey, good morning. I'm here.
All right. Good morning, Scott. So, guys, I really didn't introduce myself very well either. I got too excited. I do want to remind you, my coffee's just kicking in. We started about 6 a.m. here in California. So, yeah, I'm Steve Weber. I'm the national sales manager here of the brokerage channel, independent channel at Transamerica. But you also have Scott Grody on. Scott is your RVP, Regional Vice President. He and his internal wholesalers are really valuable. Make sure you get his phone number and his internal phone number because we are still a big, giant company that can be difficult at times if you don't have someone like me or Scott, someone who really cares, who wants to get things done and help you. So definitely make sure you save his contact information. Let me talk about Everest. What's the best way to do that?
Doug, if possible, can you give me access to add my contact info into the chat?
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Should be able to do that.
Showing chat is disabled on my end.
That's weird. All right, let's try it again. that. Allow multiple presenters. Okay. How about now? Yep. You should be good now.
That's still nothing yet.
That's weird. Let me try switching it out one more time.
Well, the good news is we see you, Scott, and we can always
Yeah.
read your phone as he's working on that. Yeah, why don't you grab
And
a
I can
pen,
also send a
guys?
follow-up email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And guys, you can always reach out to me, and I can forward you either Scott or Steven's information too.
Perfect.
Thank you. I'll talk about Everest a little bit, guys. So when I talk about value and stuff, Everest is a funeral planning concierge writer that's built into every single policy, whether it's $5,000, which is our minimum, or $50,000. Let me pull that page back up. You can go and learn more by going to everestfuneral.com. You can go to everestfuneral.com and then Transamerica. But what it really is, there's 3 or 4 different levels to what Everest can do for you. First of all, it's a licensed funeral planning director that you and your owner of the policy and beneficiaries have access to. So your clients are buying life insurance because they don't want to be a financial burden on their loved ones. Well, why not remove the burden of and stress that comes with, an unplanned funeral, right? Help your clients plan their funeral. Everest will actually negotiate your funeral costs. They'll reach out to the funeral homes in your zip code. They save on average of $6,000 to $8,000 per funeral, but because of their knowledge. But it's a way to one, plan your funeral in advance to make sure that your client has, their final wishes are being handled with care and dignity and respect, and then remove that stress from the beneficiaries. But it does a couple other things that I really like too. One, it gives you the ability to create the 3 most important financial documents that every client needs, no matter their wealth, right? Studies show that more than 50% of Americans don't have a last will and testament. And especially our demographic for final expense, I'm sure those statistics would be way higher. Well, give your client the ability to, for free, create a last will and testament, the ability to create a durable power of attorney, right? You're still going to have to close checking accounts and credit cards, and having that financial document is going to be really important. And then you're just a medical healthcare directive on your end of life decisioning. Those are 3 documents that you can create with your client here on Everest. And then finally, there's another thing called Price Finder. I would probably start with Price Finder, which is a way to print out all of the funeral homes in your specific zip code, what their contact information is, what their costs are. So when you're talking to a client already, you look like the expert. You already have, all of their funeral homes and ability, and just kind of position yourself as that trusted advisor. I don't think I'm going to walk through this right now, but definitely go through that page. Let me put this demo and see if I can put this in chat. Make sure I copied this, because the demo is going to be really helpful for you to practice. Let's see, chat works. It looks like my chat is, it says direct message. It might only be going to you, Doug, but you can paste this too here. And then we'll follow up with an email to you, Doug, with all the contact information. But Scott, why don't you, just verbally, what is your phone number?
Yeah, my direct line, my cell phone is 480-221-7815. Again, 480-221-7815.
And what's your phone? What's your email?
Yep, first name dot last name. So Scott, SCOTT, period, Grode, that's GRODE, at transamerica.com.
Awesome. We'll also follow. There's a microsite we have called FE Express Toolkit, Doug. We'll follow up with that too, so that you can it has all your resources. You can download your client guide. You can see videos. You can access the demo. Just more information right there. But yeah, we're really excited about this product. We think it's gonna help you just add another carrier to your core carriers, and our job is to earn more of your business by giving you a great experience, making sure we have good underwriting rules and good rates and good products. So, Doug, what else can I answer or talk about?
Guys, anybody has a question, go ahead and raise your hand. I know I can tell you this. I've already gotten really good feedback about the changes from a couple of the agents that have used it. Actually, the agents that have used it have given me feedback that's positive. So I haven't heard anything negative about.
Oh, I thought of one thing that's negative.
Okay.
Once you guys think of questions, I thought of one thing that's negative. We have a lot of anti-fraud built in to the EAP, which is great for Doug and agency owners. Sometimes it's frustrating for you as the agent. So one of them is that text message can't go to any random phone. There has to be a connection. Ideally, that text message is going to the phone. The owner of that phone is the owner of the policy. And then you're not going to have any problems. It also should work when the owner is the spouse, and maybe the phone's in the wife's name, but the husband is trying to be the owner of this policy. That's supposed to work too. But there definitely been a few times where agents are like, man, it's not allowing me to move forward. You'll get a message that says, hey, we can't verify this phone number. Just try to, you can always pivot to email. Maybe that's, the email's fine, but it's not ideal. Ideally, they're going to have a connection to that phone. Let me give you one other phone number, Scott, unless you beat me to it. We have a dedicated customer service team for EFE Express. And
I can read it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. For EFE Express, the support number that you guys want to have is 800-453-1448. 800-453-1448. Make sure you save that. That's going to be the support number for this EFE Express product specifically.
And they're going to help, like if the EAP, usually it's around client validation or identity validation. Something's not right, but there's banking, but there's a lot going on in the background, looking at phone numbers, looking at bank accounts, looking at, Social Security, checking medical history. But that's a really important phone number to have.
Doesn't look
Steve,
like
how about commissions?
Doesn't look like I have any questions. So,
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, I had a question. Good morning, guys. So the client got approved. There is no way that after 2 days, I'm going to receive an email saying, oh, by the way, it was declined, or we offered something else. So that's
no, we have not had a history of doing that. We don't go back, and we're not known for rescinding a policy because something came up. When you get that instant decision at the beginning of the EAP, that is our binding decision, and you can still customize it. Now, I don't want to say it's never ever in the history of trans, but it's certainly not a practice that we do. Another thing we're not doing is charging back commissions in the first 6 months. So you're probably aware of some changes. Maybe some carriers handle that differently. So with us, we're probably, Doug probably has you set up on 9 months of advance, 75% advance commission. And if, once they make that first premium, that triggers the commission, but we're going to pay you for 9 months in advance. And if they pay for 4 months or 2 months and then cancel, yes, there's going to be a chargeback for that remaining 5 months or the remaining 7 months, but we're not penalizing you and giving you a 6 months chargeback either.
Excellent. And I think what Mariana really was referring to, something that we have seen with the other product, was there would be an approval, and then we'd realize later that you guys were looking for something else. You needed something else from the client. I think that's more what she's referring to.
Okay. All right, good. So listen, our nickname a few years ago was right? We're Transamerica. What was our nickname online? It was Trans Amendment, because, oh my gosh, every time you sold a policy, oh, we need this document. Oh, we need this signature. Oh, and we have absolutely completely changed our process. There is no follow-up after this policy is placed. Every single document, like the ones we showed where the client can review them, there are no outstanding requirements or signatures. And you don't have to wait for an email to get that decision. Truthfully, our older product, Immediate Solution, is a really good product. It has younger issue ages down to 0. It has a grandchildren's rider. It has, higher accidental death. Has really good preferred rates. But man, the process was cumbersome. It's on iGoE app. You often don't get your decision. You often have to wait for an email. Sometimes that email is referred to underwriter. So anyway, good product. My next goal, Doug, and this isn't here yet, but I'm way ahead of myself, but I think it's important I'd like to have, let's just say this. I hope next year this time I've got preferred rates built into this product, but right now it's one rate class select.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Any questions? Anybody? Anything you can think of? You can unmute yourself if you need to. If you have a comment, also feel free to unmute yourself there. Excellent. All right, Jamie Taylor. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Jamie. If you're on your phone, it's probably in the lower left-hand corner. Or you can type it into the chat also. Anybody have anything else? You can go ahead and unmute yourself, guys. Any comments, anything? Dylan, are you still on the call? Nope. Dylan is working.
What was the name of that company where you can compare rates for funerals?
Yeah, it's called Price Finder. It's
Thank
called
you.
Price Finder, and it's a tool inside of Everest. Hey, Scott, do you have that temporary password?
I don't know for Everest. No.
Yeah, let's find that. So we'll give you access so you can get into Everest, and we'll send Doug an email, and in there we'll find a password so you can log in. It's like guest. I'll find it, but it's called Price Finder. And if I was to go back, and I think I am still sharing my screen. Sorry about that. If I was to come up here and look at Price Finder, see this thing right here? What it does, I don't think you can hear the audio, but you'll see it. Well, basically what it does right here.
Life's most challenging time.
Let's see.
We can hear it a little bit through your microphone.
All right, I'll just hit play.
Yeah.
And then so you can see you'll be able to see the document that it puts out here.
Services that were provided by funeral homes in the area you select. We help you save valuable time and remove the difficulty of contacting multiple funeral homes. Our team of highly trained advisors, including seasoned funeral professionals, meticulously gather and update funeral prices from providers across the country every year. Whether you're searching for funeral home prices in one or multiple areas, PriceFinder displays all the funeral providers in your search areas. You can select up to 8 providers to include in your PriceFinder report. Everest clients can generate reports for free. If you're not an Everest client, you can search the database for free and create a report for a small one-time fee. Each report can include up to 8 funeral homes. If more comparisons are needed, you can create multiple reports.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool tool. Nice. Definitely worth practicing. And what I'm going to try to give you is an enrollment code here. I'll follow up so that you guys can come over here. You can look at the will prep, which is the 3 legal documents that I referenced. Tenzing, I don't even talk about. It's a way to store family photos and build an online archive for free. The planning tools, there's a lot. And remember that every FE Express, whether it's 5,000 or 50,000, gets this included, at no cost. There's no charge, and it's a great tool.
All right,
Doug, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. I want to say thank you to Stephen and to Transamerica. Thank you to you as well for providing this service for us to hear Transamerica. But I want to say thank you to Stephen and all of Transamerica. I've been with Transamerica about a year. In the very beginning, I lost, probably a total of 10 or 15 policies with Transamerica because the e-app was so difficult. I quit going to Transamerica. I didn't bother writing them. It was just too difficult. It was frustrating for me and for my clients. But I will say I knew that things were coming up and changing. And so and I've been waiting for it. On the 14th, last Thursday, when everything changed over, I was so pleased. I had my best day ever. I wrote 4 policies in 4 hours. Boom, 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 boom. One of them was a $50,000 policy. I made more money in one day in fact, I'll tell you what I did, Stephen. What I did is I ended up, I've never written that kind of business with Transamerica because they were so difficult. I ended up not knowing whether as an agent, because I'm new, I've only been in this for 2 years. I ended up writing 3 policies that first day. Well, I wrote the 4 policies in 4 hours, but I moved one to the next day because I didn't know if I would make my commission on all 4 in one day because it was so much money. So I moved one to the 15th just to make sure I got paid. But I'm telling you, I've got everything set up in my world now. I am not writing a policy. I'm starting with Transamerica. And if for some reason Transamerica declines it, fine, I've got my go-to. But every policy I write from now on is going to be Transamerica. You guys have done a great job. It's a smooth app. And from beginning to end, I talk a lot, but from beginning to end, the app really only takes about 15 minutes. It's so easy. It's unreal. Thank you. Thank you. You've changed my life. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow.
What else can I say? I mean, the mic drop moment. Colleen,
Can we
that
get
was
this
the best.
recording?
Yeah, best agent testimonial ever.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for
My
sharing that.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, we're going to keep growing. We're going to keep improving our processes, make sure, like I said, more products, a better instant decision portfolio with a great signature process. So we're definitely excited, but that's awesome, Colleen. You really made my day with those comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, like I said, I made more money in that one day. In 4 hours, I made more money than I had made, and yeah, it was just unreal. In fact, I'll tell you, I ran a counseling service for 32 years. And one of the reasons I started working with insurance is because everyone would come in after losing loved ones and go through the nightmare of the funerals and not having the money and stuff. So I ended up deciding, when I sold my practice, I would go ahead and start working with insurance. And it's been amazing. It's just been amazing at how the carriers, and especially Transamerica, have really worked with, and they care about their people. They care about the clients. It's not just the agents and taking care of the agents, although you care about the clients, and it just, it warms my heart. And I just can't say enough. But I've told several agents already. I mean, I was on the phone to maybe 5 different agents telling them, because everybody hated Transamerica e-app. It was the worst. And I said, no, you got to go back. It's changed. And now I've got agents calling me saying, yeah, you're right. Transamerica, it's great. So thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Amazing.
thank you. That's really great. We really
stuff,
love it.
Colleen.
Are you telling the Everest story? Are you talking about the funeral planning services?
Oh,
FE
most
Express?
definitely. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm telling the Everest story, and I'm letting them know, people say, well, how come it's so expensive? I'm letting them know that the concierge service, the Everest program, will help to save them that $6,000 to $8,000 a month. And I also share with them that the larger distributor of caskets is Walmart and Costco, and they go to the funeral homes for an average of $1,200 a piece when they're charging other people anywhere from $5,000 to $12,000 for the same casket. And I'm educating them on that. I have an uncle that owns a funeral home. I know the game. Yeah.
That's
So.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Doug. I don't know how to end on a better note than this.
Thanks for sharing all the information about the product. Yeah, looks like you're definitely going to keep seeing more and more and more business. Guys, everybody that came on the call, thank you very much for joining us today. Stephen, I'll be in contact, man. You guys have a great week. Happy hunting.
Thanks, guys.
Good one,
Have a
guys.
great week,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Scott.
you.